Big news! The new Sprint LTE Plus network is faster than Verizon and AT&T based on analysis of a recent study by Nielsen. And to celebrate, we're inviting you to join Sprint for the biggest offer in U.S. wireless history. Switch to Sprint and save 50% on most Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile rates. Yep, you heard that right. No gimmicks, no tricks. You have Verizon's 6 gig for $60, $30 with Sprint. And if you have 15 gigs for $100 from AT&T, $50 with Sprint. Even if you have T-Mobile's 10 gigs for $80, we'll give it to you for $40. And we won't force you to watch video in low def. Oh, and one more thing. We'll even pay your switching fees up to $650 per line so you can switch to the Sprint LTE Plus network today. Visit a Sprint store or sprint.com/save 50%.
Offer coverage not available everywhere for discounted phones. Excludes taxes, surcharges, roaming, and premium content. Subject to new line $36 activation fee. Credit valid port-in. Plans may not be exact match. See website for eligible plans. Offer ends 1/7/16, savings through 1/8/18. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Contract valid via reward card requires online registration.
Hello and welcome to Don't Give Up Your Daydream, Transitions in a Transitioning World. I'm your host, John-Nuckel. I'm a private equity advisor / author / radio host. I would like to welcome my fellow creative professionals to Don't Give Up Your Daydream, where creativity and drive meet experience and guidance. Our goal is to introduce you to guests who have gone through major transitions in their lives or careers and have landed in a better place. All of them have kept their creativity alive and has been vital to their success. It is a thrill to have Garfield-Maitland as my guest. Garfield and I met at our daughter's basketball games, and since then we've become good friends. Garfield is the perfect example of the creative people that are all around us every day. He is a master electrician who works for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, yet you have probably heard his voice or seen his face. We'll be back with Garfield to explain after these brief words.
With football season in full swing, fans across the country flock to stadiums each weekend, taking part in the cherished American tradition of tailgating. However, all the time and effort that some fans put into preparing their tailgating food can take a heavy toll on their energy levels. That's one reason why renowned sports nutritionist Leslie Bonsi suggests adding some of what she calls an all-natural energy booster, honey.
One of the best things about honey is that it is a very, very quick, easy, digestible food item that provides the sweetness. You don't have to use a lot of it, and it gives that nice little zip. So we could put honey in a barbecue sauce. We could actually add honey to a yogurt and use it as a dip. We could even use a little bit of honey to grill that chicken or grill those vegetables for all those people that are tailgating. So we get that nice little sweet going on, as well as providing the enhanced flavor to those things that we're eating, and have the benefit of having some energy in our bodies sooner than later.
For more information, including over 1,800 recipes, visit honey.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Don't Give Up Your Daydream, Transitions in the Transitioning World. I'm your host, John-Nuckel. Well, we've waited long enough. Now it's time for us to speak to my good friend, Mr. Garfield-Maitland. How are you, Garfield?
Doing great, John. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Now, I sort of teased the listeners a little bit. What exactly is it that you do in addition to your work as an electrician?
Well, I am a day player in the fascinating world of radio and television voiceovers. That'd be commercials, promos, tags, bumpers, all kinds of different, I guess what we would actually call them nicknames for different things that you hear on radio and on television every day. But it takes a talented group of people to kind of give the, I guess, the life and, the breadth of what we actually hear in between our favorite shows and the different things that we listen to every day.
Now, in addition to a number of terms that you use that I don't understand, what do you mean by day player? Let's start with that. What do you mean by day player?
In the sense that an active participant. One of the things that always kind of wanted to do, it's a creative side. I think a creative side of me. Always found myself imitating, turning myself into someone else. And radio and television voiceovers, I think, they give you that opportunity to become someone else, at the drop of a dime, spur of the moment, and sometimes only for just a snippet. Sometimes they need someone to be someone else or for just 10 seconds. To convey the idea of being a construction worker for 10 seconds, for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
So
that must take a lot of imagination in addition to a golden voice, huh?
And yes, the voice helps.
Yeah. So how did you get started? How does one start? I mean, everyone listens to the voiceovers, and you try to figure out who it is and the famous movie promos. But how does one get started doing this?
My start, John, actually kind of came, interestingly, and it wasn't voiceover. It kind of transitioned from commercials. I one day saw an ad kind of running around with my brother, who actually was a model. And very often, a lot of times, people say, hey, you have a good speaking voice. You should do commercials. And there used to be this guy, actually, his name was Bob Collier, who used to give this 30-day kind of crash course down in Manhattan in commercials. So I did take the course, very simple, you just to kind of go there. And then his whole thing was, you had to actually start with the whole pictures, resumes, mailing things out so that you begin to get yourself in the actual agent's crosshairs, so to speak. You have to kind of put yourself in that. So that's one of the things that I did. I kind of started out really beginning to do more kind of print stuff because I was tall, still am, and I found myself actually doing a lot of sports ads, sometimes parts modeling, that type of thing.
But how did you mentioned you use a phrase that it seems like an old phrase now. I guess now everybody does everything online. But you mentioned a phrase, stuffing envelopes. You said you stuffed a lot of envelopes. Because I want the listeners to hear what it really takes.
Well, this goes back to that kind of I'm not going to say the golden age of Hollywood, but there was a time when there was really what was considered a black and white glossy, which I saw tons of. So what you basically do is you go to a studio, and there was a very popular studio right down on 46th Street in Manhattan, Kriegsman Studios. I got my headshots done there, and it basically is a black and white glossy. And once you do that, you take that glossy, and now you start the very arduous task of getting those 8x10 glossies mailed out. So you're basically going and you're ordering a batch, maybe 200 of duplicates, and you now have to get them into kind of like a 9x11, 9x12 envelope with a pretty basic resume about yourself, and you got to mail it out to agents. So. I mean, can you imagine walking into Staples, and of course at the time, obviously, just the early days of Staples maybe, but you're walking in there and saying, listen, I want 200, 9x11 manila envelopes. and you literally are going to hand stuff, your 8x10 glossy, which is then stapled onto the back of a resume, and you're going to mail them out. And you would get these lists that would have all of the agents, sometimes, the New York City agents and then the L.A. agents, but you'd mail them out. And you would literally mail them out kind of really expecting, like, wow, I'm going to, eventually hear from, maybe one of these agents. Are they going to like my picture, or are they going to think there's something that they see?
It's going to happen overnight.
So,
yeah. I remember, I told this story, I think on one of my other shows, where I read there's an author, I don't even know which one, but she said they wrote where she was turned down 137 times, and then finally I was thinking to myself, man, I would love to get turned down 137 times. That means 137 people actually responded.
Yes, it's and you literally do kind of, you mail them out. You're not going to hear anything like the next day or a week later, but you're kind of hoping in your heart of hearts, of course, that you do. But it's going to be a little bit of time before you actually hear anything, and then but you're hoping that you will. You'll get something, hear something in your phone or whatever, saying, hey, listen, we liked your picture or whatever. And of course that did actually happen, but it takes a while. It takes a while because it's your pictures go into kind of like this this big circle. I mean, obviously they have to get posted, and then they have to go to the agent, and then you get kind of put on the table behind all of the other pictures that are sitting there, and then
killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
With football season in full swing, fans across the country flock to stadiums each weekend, taking part in the cherished American tradition of tailgating. However, all the time and effort that some fans put into preparing their tailgating food can take a heavy toll on their energy levels. That's one reason why renowned sports nutritionist Leslie Bonsi suggests adding some of what she calls an all-natural energy booster, honey.
One of the best yogurt and use it as a dip. We could even use a little bit of honey to grill that chicken or grill those vegetables for all those people that are tailgating, so we get that nice little sweet going on, as well as providing the enhanced flavor to those things that we're eating and have the benefit of having some energy in our body sooner than later.
For more information, including over 1,800 recipes, visit honey.com.
Hello, I believe we're back. This is John Nuckel with Don't Give Up Your Daydream. Now, Garfield, being the experienced radio and broadcast person, I think he decided to challenge me and see if I could tap dance. Work, and I think you told me about, you have a really good story about a famous basketball player. Put it that way. That's what I want to hear.
Oh, yeah.
We'll hear again.
Well, actually ended up hearing from an agent, and actually, was able to do some, went out on some auditions with this particular agent, and actually ended up with a booking. And the booking was I was going to be a stand-in,
course, at that time I didn't know what a stand-in was, but